It is now time for Fersan in the Field Real Issues, Real Solution, brought to you by Newport-Fersan, Jamaica. And today we are taking a look at changing weather, changing pests, protecting crops under variable climatic conditions. Joining us is Sajae Jones, agronomist out of Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Good morning, Sajae, and welcome back to the show. How are you?
Good morning, Alcia. Good morning, listeners. I'm not bad at all. Doing well.
Good to have you on. What kinds of conditions are farmers facing in Manchester and St. Elizabeth at this time?
Well, we're still having drought conditions, but we have scattered showers in some areas of North St. Elizabeth and North Manchester. It's not what we are used to for those areas, but it's better than what has been persistent for the past couple of months.
So the farmers are indeed hoping that they will get more rainfall and that we'd hear better than scattered at some point in time.
Because these showers are just enough to cool the area down for a few hours, but not enough to carry a crop to full term.
Oh boy, which begs the question of how the farmers are managing. Do many of them have catchment facilities?
Not to the number that we would like, or not to the number that would make any meaningful impact. But thankfully, lots of farmers are now seeing the need to improve their infrastructure and are putting in ponds and the tanks where they can.
Oh, that is very good. That's certainly good news. So they are catching on to the idea that they have to take charge of that process. All right, so our issue of focus today is changing weather, changing pests, protecting crops under variable climatic conditions. What value, Sajae, do you think today's topic holds for our farmers? And how are changing weather patterns affecting pest pressure, disease development, and crop productivity? And I know that is a lot, but there is a lot happening with our pests as well.
Definitely. As relates to that point specifically, climate variability is becoming an increasingly important factor in crop protection because the weather directly influences the biology of both crop and the organisms that attack it. Temperature affects insect development, reproduction, population growth, while rainfall and leaf wetness, the duration of leaf wetness to be specific, influences the infection and development of many pathogens. At the same time, prolonged heat or moisture stress can reduce photosynthesis, affect the nutrient uptake, weaken the overall crop vigor. So when we talk about changing weather, we are not simply talking about whether it is hotter or rainy. We are talking about changes in the crop, pest, pathogen environment. For the farmer, this means that the pest scouting, disease monitoring, and spray timing have to become more responsive to actual field and weather conditions rather than relying entirely on a fixed calendar for spraying.
Okay, and of course, very, very important, the farmers have to develop a greater awareness of the changing climatic conditions and what all of these mean. Do you think enough of them are paying attention to what is happening and these changes and how the changes impact their operations?
Well, they are being forced to pay attention to it now. It in the past, it may have been drought maybe 2 months, 3 months, but now the drought is lasting way longer. And if we remember, just a short span ago in January, we had a lot of rainfall.
Right.
So we are being forced to pay attention to it now. And as an agronomist in the field, I am definitely bringing light to this issue, showing the farmers that this is indeed affecting them and it's no fluke. It's definitely the change in weather that's affecting the pests and disease that are affecting them.
All right, well, let us do a little bit of a deep dive then. How do these changing weather conditions, such as the prolonged dry spells, the heavy rainfall, the fluctuating temperatures, influence insect pests, diseases, and general crop health?
Well, temperature is one of the most important environment factors regulating insect development. Most insects are exothermic, meaning their body temperatures and metabolic activities are strongly influenced by the surrounding environment. As temperatures move towards optimum range for a particular pest, the development can accelerate. We often describe this by using the degree day accumulation. Essentially, the insect accumulates thermal units, and once sufficient units have been accumulated, it moves from one development stage to another, right? So that is important because the warmer conditions can potentially shorten the time between generations of the insect. A farmer may therefore see the pest population increase more rapidly than it would under cooler conditions. Rainfall creates a set of conditions, a different set of conditions. Prolonged periods of leaf wetness and high relative humidity can favor the germination, infection, and spread of many fungal and bacterial pathogens. Heavy rainfall can also splash pathogen spores or bacteria from infected plant material onto healthy tissue. However, dry spells can create another problem where the stress causes tomatal closure, reducing photosynthesis activity, and can interfere with nutrient transport and uptake. The plant becomes physiologically stressed, and this can reduce the growth and yield potential. So we have different types of weather producing different types of pressure. Heat can accelerate certain insect pests. Moisture can increase disease development, while drought can weaken the crop performance. So you can see where the change in the different conditions can accelerate different areas. So that's why we need to pay attention to it.
That's really very important, and so when we think of the fact that we have El Nino grappling with now, we have Saharan dust, all sorts of things are coming at us. And when I say us, I'm being very intentional because, Sajae, the truth is that more of us are actually paying attention to the source of our food. There is more work being done to help us to understand the whole issue of food sovereignty. So all of us, I think, have to take control of what is going on. All right, so if you have problems, then we must be looking at solutions. So let me just see if we can introduce the solutions now before we get to the top of the hour. Want to apologize because we have been trying to get our farmer Darren Graham, but not getting through to him. Perhaps we'll ask you to describe the challenges that he has been having, and of course the kinds of solutions that you have put forward. But as a technology-driven company, people know you for your fertilizers and your crop protection products, but what are you doing out there in the field to help the farmers respond to these changing climatic conditions?
Well, at first, the approach should be is viewed as integrated crop management system, rather than treating fertilizers or crop protection as a completely separate activity. Our technical unit allows us to assess the crop, identify nutritional and pest-related problems, and develop a management recommendation based on the actual field situation. We achieve this through using our precise nutrient management system and our improved programs. In addition, water quality is an important part of the process. The farmer may have the correct pesticide and the correct application rates, but the spray water is unsuitable, right? So the performance can be compromised. That's why the tools such as the pH meter are useful in determining the characteristics of the water being used. If necessary, water conditioning can also be incorporated into the spray program using citric acid. Mm-hmm. And we provide both of these. We stock both of these at Newport-Fersan, both the pH meter and the citric acid. So, for example, water conditioning agent can be used to adjust the water pH, bringing it to a lower pH in most instances where the sprays are having a better environment to work. However, the target pH should always be determined based on the product. So we need to know the pH based on the product. And if you contact us, we can tell you the recommended pH for our products, for each of them, for when you're mixing it. Nutrient management is another important component. The objective isn't simply to apply more fertilizers, it is to provide nutrients according to the crop demand, soil condition, and the results of tissue and soil assessments, which we also provide, or we also facilitate these, and we highly recommend that persons use these technologies to better the operation.
And this makes sense. The truth is, Sajae, if you and I, if we're sick, we're feeling unwell, we don't try to diagnose what is going on with us, unless, of course, it's a common cold. We're used to that, so we will take a thing here or there. But if we feel that there's something that we can't manage, we're going to go to the doctor. And it's the same way that we need to treat our plants. We go to the agronomist and we say, listen, this is the challenge that I'm having. And more farmers are waking up to the importance, or understanding the importance of that. When we come back from the news and the weather, we will take a look at the experience of the farmer, Darren Graham, from your perspective, and then we will continue to provide the solutions to the challenges as well. So we break away now for the news and the weather.
Farmers, you can now prevent and cure fungal diseases with Eradicate Systemic Fungicide from Newport-Fersan, Jamaica Limited. Eradicate is effective against rust in coffee, citrus, sugarcane and peanut, black and yellow secatoka, early blight, mildews, purple blotch in onions, and other fungal diseases. Get your Eradicate at your nearest farm store or at the Newport-Fersan office, 2A2B Worry Wharf Complex. Stay in control with Eradicate.
Farmers, this one is for you. Want to get rid of all those pesky insects, thrips, aphids, armyworms, spider mites, leaf miners, diamondback moth, and many more? Spectra insecticide and miticide from Newport-Fersan is for you. Spectra is safe, effective, and is approved and registered for the use of melon, cucumber, pumpkin, cabbage, lettuce, broccoli, peppers, onions, tomatoes, potatoes, and peas. Spectra is compatible with most pesticides. Spectra available in farm stores. For a full list of crops and pests, please visit www.newportfersanja.com. Newport-Fersan, first on the line.
We're into the final segment of the program for today, and this morning we have the feature Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions, and the topic, changing weather, changing pests, protecting crops under variable climatic conditions. Sajae Jones is agronomist out of Manchester and St. Elizabeth, and we've now been joined by Darren Graham, farmer out of Christiana, Manchester. So let me go to him first before we get back to Sajae. Good morning, Mr. Graham, and welcome to Farm Talk. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad.
And what kind of weather conditions have you been facing over there in Manchester? Hot and dry?
Yes, it's time, hot and dry.
Yes. And from your experience, how have the changing weather conditions been affecting the pests on your farm, and what has been going on? What have you been doing? What kind of advice are you getting from Newport-Fersan?
Well, the changing in the weather, I can see more changing when it regards to pests. Mm-hmm. Yeah, more so trees.
So you have a lot of pests in bothering your crops now?
Yes, a lot of pests. More so thrips.
Okay, so a lot of thrips. And what kind of damage do they do to your crops?
Well, they can cause the pepper itself to cut in bearing, also the overall yield of the crop. Okay,
so they cut the yield of the crop. So less crops, less money in your pocket, so you have to be concerned about that.
Yes, less money, and you can tell it, like, when the troops are taking charge of the pepper, you can basically, you have to be really skilled to overcome the troops infestation.
Okay, what kind of peppers do you have?
Scotch bonnet peppers.
Okay, and what other crops do you grow?
Only Scotch bonnet.
Oh, so your focus is entirely on Scotch bonnet pepper?
Yes.
How long have you been in the business?
Maybe 2 years now.
Okay. And you're doing well other than the thrips?
Well, yes.
All right. So now to the advice that you have been given by Newport-Fersan. How is that helping you to take control of that situation with the thrips?
Well, I was using different insecticide before, and after contacting Newport-Fersan, yes, they have given me solution in which I use insecticide, direct insecticide that will combat the thrips infestation on the farm.
Right.
Whereas they tell me that I should use the sucker and the spectra.
Okay.
And after using this spectra and the sucker, then I can see where the thrips infestation has narrowed down.
All right. So the truth is that you did have challenges. You're using the products and you're getting good results.
Yes.
All right. Well, Mr. Graham, I really want to wish you all the best. You have latched onto a part of the agriculture and fisheries sector that is doing very well. Hot pepper production. Scotchy is one of those peppers that will always do well, and there's always a high demand. So you're onto a good thing, and I really want to wish you all the best. Thank you so very much for sharing your experience with us this morning.
Okay, and thanks for having me.
A pleasure. Darren Graham, their farmer out of Christiana, Manchester. And let us bring Sajae Jones back in. Sajae is agronomist out of Manchester and St. Elizabeth. So, Sajae, you have been working with Mr. Graham. What did you notice, why it is that you made these recommendations?
Well, upon our regular field visit, we noticed thrips. And that was through scouting activities. So thrips and mites share similar damage or similar signs and symptoms on the plant. So we noticed the curling of the leaves and so forth. So what we did was we actually used the microscope to zoom in and look directly on the leaves to identify the thrip itself. So upon doing that, we were able to capture images of it, and we identified directly that it was thrips. Then we moved into what he was using before in terms of products, and we narrowed down all the active ingredients to ensure that we were properly rotating ingredients. It so happened that we could use two of our products, the sucker and the spectra, to incorporate it into his spray program and allow for the control of thrips, which has been doing well so far. So this was one of the approaches that we always say, call us and we can do, and we actually went out and we did it where we didn't guess at what was affecting him. We directly identified it, and we were able to propose a solution to him that has been working.
Well, that is certainly very good, which means that if farmers pay attention to what it is that you tell them to do, they can get better results. All right, so when pest pressure increases, what key steps should every farmer follow before and during spray preparation to ensure insecticides and fungicides perform at their best? Because it is certainly one thing to have the products, but knowing how to use them, as you have pointed out, is important.
All right. Yes, so let's break it up into steps what they should do. So the first step is the correct identification, as I said before. The farmer needs to identify the pest or the pathogen correctly. An insecticide cannot solve a disease problem, and a fungicide cannot solve an insect problem. Even within insects, there are different species and life cycles, different stages in the life cycles that respond differently to the same active ingredient. Second thing that we would do is to select the appropriate mode of action. So the product should be selected based on the target organism and the approved crop use pattern. Farmers should also avoid repeatedly relying on the same mode of action, because that increases the selection pest pressure for resistance, right? The third thing we want to do is understand the water. Use clean water, and where relevant, check the characteristics such as the pH and the hardness of the water. Objective is to ensure that the spray environment is suitable for the pesticide being used. We also want to check the compatibility. If multiple products are being tank mix, compatibility should be confirmed, which is physical compatibility or biological compatibility are both important, right? And fifth, we want to follow the correct mixing sequence. So products should be added according to the manufacturer's instruction. In general, farmers should not simply pour everything into the tank.
That's right.
Into the tank and mix. Then we want to ensure that we measure correctly, right? So the application rate is a part of the pesticide efficacy and safety profile. More products does not necessarily mean better control. In fact, unnecessarily adding or increasing the rate increases the cost of the products, and crop injury can occur, and environmental exposure, overexposure to these chemicals. We want to also ensure that we calibrate the sprayer. Ensure that the sprayer is the intended volume, meaning that we have the right amount of liquid or liquid solution in the sprayer to spray that area is actually being delivered to the area. We want to also ensure that we consider the environmental conditions. So wind speed, temperature, the relative humidity, rainfall, all influences the spray, this dispersion in the area. So to properly spray is not to simply mix and spray. It is the control process designed to deliver an effective concentration of an active ingredient or the spray, as we know it, to the biological target.
All right, and before we wrap with you, I have a question here. This is from Ophelia in Portmore, who said she's just now starting to do some planting because of whitefly. She said she had cut down everything and just allowed the earth to rest. What can she use for the whiteflies? That is one thing. And two, she also wants to find out if seaweed is good for the plants.
All right. So there are products that have the seaweed extract in it, namely our plant start, which offer great benefits for the plant. So yes, you can use it, and we recommend that you use the plant start that has that in it. Another thing that we would recommend for the whitefly is actually one of the products that Mr. Graham is using, which is Spectra. We can use that for it, and if you will permit me, I will just pass on for the representative for that area so she can reach out to them and get a field visit in place so that we can have that checked out properly and rectified. So it's 876 3711 091. That's 876 3711 091.
All right, so I've dropped that number in her box so she can reach out to find out exactly what can be done to assist her, because we don't want her to go through that issue of having to cut down the plants at all. I know that whiteflies can be very annoying. How big a problem, I know you've spoken about thrips this morning, but how big a problem are we having with whiteflies?
Well, they are a pest of economic importance, as you hinted at before, and we do have quite a bit of them in the fields now, but not as much as the thrips that I've been noting for the past 2 months. So they are a big problem, but not as big as the thrips. And I would highly recommend that the farmer reach out, because, as I said before, proper identification of the pest and the stage at which they are is key, and also the sprays that they have been using before. So we just want to ensure that we come out, and the field visits are free, so you don't have to worry about that. You just contact us, and we'll be more than happy to come out and give you an assessment.
How can people reach out to you, Sajae?
You can reach me at 553-3832.
All right, give us that number again.
553-3832.
All right, thank you very much, Sajae Jones, the agronomist, Manchester and St. Elizabeth with Newport-Fersan. This has been another in the series, Fersan in the Field, Real Issues, Real Solutions.